guys, welcome to my Wednesday video, and this Wednesday I'm going to go through a kind of an update on the top 20 books I wanted to read in 2021. So I have the list shown over here of probably more like here, of the top 20 books that I want to read in 2021 or wanted to read in 2021. And they were kind of listed in order of release date, but not completely. Out of those 20 books, there are 8 of them I still have not read. So I am hoping to read those soon. Yeah, so I'll just start going through them. The first one that was on my list to read in 2021 was Ready Player 2 by Ernest Clines. This one was a huge disappointment for me. I loved Ready Player 1, and Ready Player 2 was just very not good. We didn't like it. My whole family and I listened to an audiobook. We were super excited. We listened to it on a road trip, and we were very, very disappointed and mostly just wanted it to be over the whole time we were listening to it. All right, the second book on the list was A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, which is the second book in Kingdom of Ash and something by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I actually really loved this book. I loved the first and second book in the series, but spoiler, maybe not spoiler for those who have followed my blog, I hated the third book with a vengeance. In fact, I hated the third book so much I still haven't read one of the other books on this list that is one of her books because I really, really hated the third book in that series. But A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire I liked a lot. I think I gave it 5 stars and it was really good. All right. Third on the list is Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. I love this book. It was really good. A lot of people love this book. There was a lot of buzz about it. It was kind of a modern day urban fantasy featuring kind of a Arthurian retelling of sorts. It's got a lot of what am I trying to say? It's got a lot of like traditional African magic and Arthurian magic and like the two cultures kind of mixing together. It's about a girl who's in her upper teens who ends up at a boarding school, and it was good. It was really well written, really engaging, and I liked it a lot. So that one I also gave 5 stars. Fourth one on the list was one I keep meaning to read, but I have not read yet, and that's These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. I have it. The main reason I haven't read it is I have it in hardback format, and I've been reading a ton on my Kindle, and so I just haven't been reading as many hardback books, and I need to get it out and read it at some point, but I haven't yet. And another reason I haven't read it yet is it's a new series, and I've been trying to catch up in a lot of series that I'm already reading, and so, there's that. All right, the 5th book on my list was A Skinful of Shadows by Frances Hardinge. I think it's Harding. That's how you actually say it. But I've been trying to read a lot of her books because I really liked a lot of her recent releases. And I found out that even though I liked her recent books, I am not a huge fan of her old books. This one was okay. I think I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. And it was kind of about a girl who goes to live with this family who's kind of creepy. They're like possessed by shadows, and it's all set, I think it was during World War I. And, there's parts of it that were good. It was just kind of slow and wandered, and I didn't find it super exciting. So that one was a bit of a disappointment. All right, the 6th one on the list is When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain by Ning Bo. I like this. I didn't like it as much as the first book in the Singing Hills cycle. I still thought it was a good read. It's a little novella, and it features the same cleric that is in the first book, and they come across shape-shifting tigers who tell them stories about, basically the tiger tells a story and then the cleric tells a story, and they're trying to reconcile the 2 versions of the story, and it kind of goes with a bunch of stories throughout the novella. Very much that story within a story kind of vibe, kind of a more traditional like folklore kind of feel to it. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. I liked it. I didn't like it as much as the first book in the series, but I liked it enough to continue to read her as an author. So yeah. 7th book in the series is A Stranger in Town by Kelly Armstrong. This is I think this is the 4th or 5th book in the Casey Duncan series. It's a series about a woman who is helping as a sheriff to run a town in the middle of the Yukon wilderness in Canada. And it's a town where people go for basically witness protection type of thing. And it's a very primitive town. And it's kind of both about dealing with the people that are coming in and out and the people who live in the wild out there. And so there's a lot of survival. There's a lot of mystery and all this kind of stuff. I'm a huge fan of this series, and A Stranger in Town was a very good book in that series. I did give it 5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. So I'm really looking forward to the final book in the series. This book in the series, A Stranger in Town, definitely brought in a lot of story threads from other books and is kind of starting to wrap everything up, and it was really well done. All right. Number 8 on the series is Witch Hat 8-Leer, Book 7. I really love this book as well. It's a fantasy manga series aimed at the middle grade to young adult crowd. The artistry, the artwork in here is beautiful. Love the story. Yeah, I've really been enjoying that. I think I've given every single volume in that series 5 stars, so this was another great one of that. Ninth one was Calculated Risks by Shauna McGuire, and this is the most recent encrypted novel. This one was okay. It was a little weird. It was another one about Sarah, and you end up in some different dimension dealing with weird stuff. It was not what I had come to expect from that series, which is kind of like a fun, lighthearted urban fantasy. It was kind of out there, and I think I gave it, it was either 3 or 4 stars, maybe even 3.5. It was just weird and slow and didn't fit very well with the rest of the series. And originally I liked the first book or 2 from Sarah's view, but I didn't enjoy this one so much, so it was okay. Number 10 on the list is Bridge of Souls by Victoria Schwab. This is in the Cassidy Blake series. I think it's the 3rd book in the Cassidy Blake series, and I love this book. I have been loving this series. It's all about a husband and wife couple who travel from place to place to talk about ghosts, and the wife is all into like it being an actual spiritual, supernatural thing, and the husband is all about the history and facts, and they bring along their daughter Cassidy, who can actually see ghosts, to all these haunted sites. And the first few books were like very interesting international locations. This book, and I don't know if it was a result of the pandemic, was actually set in New Orleans, so it was locally set, and I don't know if she ended up traveling locally for it because of everything going on. But it was still really well done and very interesting to read about some area. I've been to New Orleans before. It's where my sister got married, and so to read about some of those areas and stuff. Really good. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. All right, the 11th book on the list I am currently reading. I just started it, but that is Ravage the Dark by Tara Sims. It's the 2nd book in Scavenge Stars duology, which is a retelling of the Count of Monte Cristo, which is, but it's a gender swap. So the main character, who is a prisoner on the ship and all that, is a woman, and she's like dead set on getting revenge. So that's kind of what the first book is, and the 2nd book ties up that story. I love the first book, so I'm very excited to read this one. I got it on audiobook from the library, and I just started it. So that is not read. That's one of the other ones. So it's the 2nd one on the list that I haven't read yet, but I am starting to read it. Number 12 on the list is The Bone Maker by Sarah Beth Durst. I love this. I'm a big fan of a lot of Durst's books. I did recently read one, Even and Odd, that I did not really think was great. But I have enjoyed a lot of her adult fantasies quite a bit. She wrote like The Queens of Rinthia and some of that. And I like The Bone Maker. It's kind of set in, it's a bunch of adventurers who save the world, but now it's set like after they save the world, and is about their lives after, and what happens when they're called upon to deal with the repercussions of some of the stuff they did when they saved the world. So I just thought it was really good, and I loved it a lot. So that was one I did also give 5 out of 5 stars. Number 13 on this list I have not read yet, and that is Vinland Saga Volume 23. This is not out yet. It's been delayed a lot. Like, it was supposed to come out, I think, last September, and then it got delayed to March of 2020. No, got delayed to like November, and it's been delayed a lot, and it is again delayed, and it is maybe going to come out, I think, September of 2021 now, but it's not released yet, so still waiting on that one. Number 14 on the list is Fugitive Telemetry by Martha Wells. This one I gave 4 out of 5 stars. I didn't like it as much as a lot of the novellas. I found the time frame it was set in a little bit confusing because it doesn't go chronologically with the previous novellas. It's set kind of like before some of them. And you're able to figure that out eventually, but it was a little bit confusing. And it is all set in Preservation, which is the home world for Murderbot now, but it wasn't, I don't know. It was a little confusing and just, I kind of like it when they go travel places on the spaceship. So like art is missing out of it. And it just, I don't know. It was good. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, but it just wasn't my favorite in the series. I didn't love it, but it was fine. Number 15 was in the same vein as well. That is A Master of Gin by P.J. Lee Clark, and this was like my number 1 most anticipated book of this year. I got it earlier in the year to review, and I liked it, but I didn't love it. I think I ended up giving it 3 out of 5 stars. Mainly because I loved the novellas set in this world. In this book, it was almost like it tried too hard. Like it started out pretty good, but then all of a sudden they start bringing in all these random political characters and you're trying to figure out what's going on. And even though Fatma's like an investigator, she's like thrown into these political parties and it didn't seem to have much of a point. And I don't know. It got really, really slow in the middle and I honestly almost stopped reading it at one point. I was like, no, I love this world. I'm going to keep reading it. So, and it ended up being good at the end, but there's a part in the middle that was just really, really slow. All right. Now the last 5 books, so there's been 3 so far I haven't read. The last 5 books on this list are ones I have not read yet, either because I just got copies of them or they aren't released yet. Number 16 is Mr. Impossible by Maggie Stiefvater. I said it right this time. And this is the second book in the Dreamer trilogy, and I love the first book. I actually got my hardback copy of Mr. Impossible, I think either this week or last week, and I will be reading this next. I'm reading a review book right now, and I'll hopefully finish that this weekend. I'm recording this over the weekend, and I will be reading Mr. Impossible. So by the time this video posts, I will probably be reading Mr. Impossible or done with it. But very much looking forward to reading that. The 17th book on the list is Grace and Glory by Jennifer L. Armentrout, and this is the final book in the Harbinger trilogy. And again, I just got a copy of this. I think it came out on June 11th, so I got an ebook copy of this. And I am reluctant to read it because I was so upset by the 3rd book in her fantasy series, The Kingdom of, I think it's Ash and Blood is the name. I always forget. Whenever authors do like Ash and Blood, Flesh and Fire, like things that are kind of the same, and then they name all the books that way, but then the name of the series is the name of one of those books. I get confused, but I think it's The Kingdom of Ash and Blood. Anyways, I've been reluctant to start Grace and Glory because I don't want to be really disappointed in how it wraps up. I am probably going to read that pretty soon though, so it'll probably be after Mr. Impossible or shortly after. Number 18 on this list is The Hollow Heart by Marie Rutkowski, and that one is the second book in that duology, which I am blanking on. I did just get a review copy for it not that long ago, so it's not out yet, but I will be reading it soon because I think it releases in August, so I'll probably read it in July. So that one is coming up. Number 19 on the list is The One and Only Crystal Druid by Annette Marie, and that is a new book in a new spin-off. So it's in the Guild Codex world, but it's a separate series in that world following Zach the Crystal Druid. So very excited to read that because he's one of my favorite characters, but it doesn't release until September. So I have not read it yet. Obviously, I don't have a review copy or anything. So, and then the last book on my list that I am still super excited to read it is When Sorrows Come by Shonda McGuire, and this is the next October Day book. This is also not out yet. It's supposed to release in September, so I will just have to wait for that. McGuire's books often do come up for review on like NetGalley or Edelweiss, so I will probably keep an eye out to see if I can get an early copy to review before it releases. So anyways, not sure if this was interesting for anybody or not, but those are the 20 books I was am most anticipating reading in 2021, and I have read 12 out of the 20 with mixed results. A lot of them I did really love, some of them I was really disappointed in, but I have 8 more to go, and pretty good start on most of them. I think I own half of those, so yeah. Hope you enjoyed this, and I will talk to you on Saturday for a Stacking the Shelves. Talk to you later. Bye.